Hi, I am Lina Rose. I've called yesterday to discuss my purchase of land from Asley. Can we meet tomorrow at your firm? Hello, we are the partners in this firm and we will guide you throughout the conveyancing process.
Miss Lina Rose, let's start our session today by gathering some inquiry as a pre-contractual process before we proceed to the next step. In response to conveyancing procedures, as a purchaser solicitor, I hold a duty to conduct a few requirements here. The interview is to declare the sources of money you will be used in purchasing the property. First, you have to fill the Know Your Client form to justify that you are not involved with any terrorism activities, and it will be highly protected by Data Protection Act 2010 upon your sign over the PDPA form. Next is the land search. This is to obtain latest details, dealings and status of the intended property. I will proceed with the private land search as in section 384 of National Land Code 1965. I tremendously do not want you to suffer losses upon my negligence of not conducting land search as happened in the case of Neo Suo against Retina Sami. Third is bankruptcy search, which done to identify clients' eligibility in possessing property, as to be in line with Section 43 of National Land Code 1965 and Section 3, Subsection 1 of Insolvency Act 1967. It shall be done to avoid any professional misconduct in future, as happened in the case of Anthony Ting Chiao Pang against Wong Bin Seng. The last inquiry is site inspection. I have to refer to Tenaga Nasional Berhad and Indah Water to be informed of any areas in annual assessment of the property. Also, I have to identify whether there is any renovation done and was it conform to the local authority guidelines. We can go together for the inspection just to avoid any existing encumbrances at the property. If there are chattels on the land, you and Azli have to determine whether the chattels can be sold together with the land or not. If so, I need to put them in the inventory list of the SPA. If it's sold by caveat emptor basis, you cannot take any action for the defects of the land. Thus, land inspection is a must.
The second conveyancing process is the preparation of the document. As the purchaser solicitors, I will prepare these documents on your behalf. The first document that needs to be prepared is the sale and purchase agreement. Here, you can see the front page of the said agreement. The sale and purchase agreement divided into two parts. The first part is the recital part, whereby it contains the details of the parties and the property involved. The second part is called operative part of the agreement, whereby it contains the obligation of the purchaser and vendor. The next document is the memorandum of transfer. As stated in section 215 of National Land Code, the transfer of land is effected by using Form 14A. After that, I need to prepare Form CKHT 502 and Form CKHT 2A for the payment of real property gain tax. Next, in order to protect your interest on the purchased land, I will apply the entry of private caveat by using Form 19B as stated in section 325 of National Land Code. The last document need to be prepared is Form 19G for the withdrawal of the private caveat. So, additional information, the vendor solicitors who acted on behalf of Azli need to prepare two documents. The documents are Form CKHT3 for the disposal of real property by the vendor and Form CKHT1A for the exemption of the real property gain tax.
The next stage is execution and attestation with tackling the issue on existing charge. After the documents are ready, can I sign them afterwards?
After all documents are prepared, I will send the SPA to Azli solicitor to be vetted and he will vet and approve the SPA. Then you will need to execute the SPA and other documents by way of signing. Usually, I will be the one who attests the signing. However, since the land is a Malay reserve land as stated under the title deed, its attestation process must involve land administrator. Failure of the document to be attested in front of the land administrator may render the documents to be unfit for registration. But don't worry, I will assist you and Azli to execute the documents before the land administrator. Upon signing the documents, you need to pay a deposit which is 10% of the total purchase price.
Oh, I see. How much is the 10% deposit?
Since the purchase price is 255,500 ringgit, then 10% amounts to 25,550 ringgit. In addition, I will act as the stakeholder and I will retain 3% of the purchase price, which the amount retained is 766 ringgit and 50 cents.
What about the vendor? Does he has to sign any documents too?
He will also execute the relevant documents and attest by the land administrator. After that, the document will be forwarded to me. Then, I will send the SPA to the stamp office for stamping. The stamp duty is only 10 ringgit. And I will send a copy of the duly stamped SPA to Azli solicitor. There is an existing charge on the land. We need to free the land from the charge in order for you to purchase it. Azli needs to inform Maya Bank that he intends to sell the land to you. Then Maya Bank solicitor will issue the redemption statement and forward it to Azli solicitor. I will instruct Azli solicitor to forward the said redemption statement to me. Upon receiving it, you need to pay the balance purchase price. Then I will make payment of redemption sum to Maya Bank so the bank will withdraw the charge from the land. This is enumerated in clause 3.3 of Schedule G of the Housing Development Regulations. When Maya Bank receive the redemption sum, they will discharge the land by an instrument in Form 16N. Maya Bank will withdraw the charge by preparing Form 16N, stamp the documents and forward the duly stamped Form 16N, the original IDT, the prescribed fee and quick rent receipt to me.
Why do we need to lodge a private caveat?
Since the procedure to register Form 14A are time-consuming, private caveat must be lodged to protect your interest on the land and also to ensure that Azli will perform his part as provided in the SPA.
The importance of lodging a private caveat can be seen in these three cases, which highlights that it will give rise to you, Lina Rose, a caveatable interest as you had signed the SPA and had paid the deposit of the purchase price as well. I will then lodge a private caveat at the Land Office using three documents. Firstly, Form 19B, secondly, a statutory declaration by you, Lina Rose, and thirdly, a copy of the SPA receipt together with a prescribed fee under Section 323, Subsection 3, Paragraph A of the National Land Code. Finally, I will submit said documents together with the prescribed fee to the Land Office. Then, the registrar will lodge the caveat. It will only take into effect when the title deed is endorsed by the registrar with the words private caveat and a notification to Azli by Form 19A. What about the taxes I have to pay when I acquire this land? I will file Form CKHT2A to the Inland Revenue Board to declare the value of land. I will submit it together with a copy of SPA, a payment slip for CKHT 502, and a check for the 3% purchase price. If Azli is qualified for a tax exemption, he may file Form CKHD3 to the RPGT department. If it is approved, it shall be forwarded to the Inland Revenue Board and you, Lina, to be informed of the said exemption, while the 3% of purchase price can be refunded to his solicitor. The fourth stage is adjudication and stamping at the Land Office. How do I know how much stamp duty to be paid? Well, it is done by way of adjudication where documents related to the purchase are submitted to the stamp office for the amount of stamp duty to be assessed. In your situation, the amount of stamp duty payable is 4,110 ringgit. The amount of stamp duty to be paid will be issued by the stamp office by way of the notice taksiran or notice of assessment. No worries, I can adjudicate your documents online using the e-stamping system. When I receive the notice of assessment, I will pay the amount of stamp duty to the collector of stamp duty within 30 days to avoid being penalized. This is according to Section 47A, Subsection 1 of Stamps Act 1949. I can also make the payment online by using the e-stamping system. The last step is presentation for registration. Is there anything else that I have to do?
No need to worry, Puan Lina Rose. We are almost there. First, final land search must be conducted. Since you have settled the balance of purchase price, I will forward them to vendor. Next, private caveat will be withdrawn as provided in Section 325 Subsection 1A by serving Form 19G. The registrar will then withdraw the caveat under Section 325 Subsection 2A. I will also serve notice of withdrawal to vendor under Section 325 Subsection 2B. Next, the presentation for the registration at the Land Office as provided in Section 292 Subsection 1. The documents involved will be Form 14A, Form 19G, Form 16N, the original IDT, Sale Purchase Agreement, Quit Rent and Assessment Rent Receipt and registration fees. After Azli received the balance purchase price, he would hand over vacant possession of the land. Azli's solicitor will apportion the payment of quit rent, assessment and sewerage charges as at the date of delivery of vacant possession. Once IDT is duly endorsed, I will collect the IDT from Land Office and forward it to you.
I always say congratulations.